Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. Our guest today is Dr. Mary Lou Apple, a name I'm sure you recognize as the president of Motlow Community College, and that is scheduled to end the end of June. Dr. Apple has set her retirement to running at the end of June. She has been with us here in Motlow for exactly 9 years, or will be at the end of June. Nice tidy start, you know. She ends in June and she began on July the 1st. And I think without question we all owe a great deal of thanks for the contribution that you've made to the education scene. And I know your vice chancellor, well, I guess is close to being your boss, said in a meeting the other day that what a jewel she has been. So,
thank you.
You can smile about that. Yeah. 4 campuses, tremendous growth, at least at Smyrna. I don't know about the rest of them. So you've had lots of going on. So thanks for joining us, and we will take a short commercial break, and then we want to find out what you've been doing the last 9 years.
We'll do it.
We are Goody Two Scoops.
I love Goody Two Scoops.
A family-friendly, yummy dessert specialty shop in Tullahoma, Tennessee. We excel in self-serve frozen treats and our own incredibly tasty chef-baked creations. For frozen treat lovers, we offer frozen yogurt, ice cream custard, as well as gelato and Italian ice. 85 flavors that rotate each day. 55 toppings including fresh sliced fruit. For our baked good lovers, Goody Two Scoops offers a variety of fresh pastries at a hometown price. Our 2 certified culinary chefs design and create incredible cakes. We showcase our cakes, froyo cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, and chocolate-covered strawberries, offered fresh daily.
I love fighting.
Goody Two Scoops.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
Greetings, folks, and we're talking today with Dr. Mary Lou Apple, president of Motlow, who will be stepping down at the end of June. And she's been a very great asset for us, and we wanted to talk about some of the things she's been doing and maybe doing in the future. And I was just interested in a bit of background that I hadn't picked up on before. That, well, tell the folks briefly. You started out nursing.
I did. I graduated from the University of Tennessee with my RN degree and went immediately into a hospital setting and did a little bit on the med-surg floor, and then basically a longer tenure in the operating room, in the emergency room. And it was while I was working at the hospital that the local community college had nursing students in my area, and they would ask if you would mentor students and let them go with you and supervise some of those. And I did that for a couple of years. I really enjoyed being with the students. I really liked the mission of the community college. You know, you had the adult students and you had the younger students, and I really liked the mission of it being open and available for everyone. Yeah. So I decided I might teach for a couple of years. And then that just led right on to many, many years of being in the educational world.
That happened to be turned out to be a permanent switch.
It did.
From nursing to teaching. Okay, let's take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and talk some more.
At At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Are you tired of getting those letters in the mail being turned down for that new car due to bankruptcy, medical expenses, or divorce? Then look no further than Russell Barnett Kia. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Here at Russell Barnett Kia, we are your bank. Dial 931-455-6066 or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. And remember, we are the bank and we can help you. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Why buy anywhere else?
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're talking today with Dr. Apple, folks, who is stepping down as head of Motlow at the end of June. And she's been running 4 campuses and lots of stuff going on, a lot of growth going on, particularly up at Smyrna. So, Dr. Apple, let's let you hold forth and talk to the folks about some of the things that have happened that you're proud of, and maybe some you wish had gone better, or whatever the highlights as you see them.
Well, I will have to say this has been just a highlight in my career to be here and in the community and with this college. I've read about Motlow and actually visited down here several times with a dear friend, Susan Sanders, when she was a nursing instructor and director of the program here. So I knew some about Motlow. I always really liked the campus and what they were doing. So it was really a highlight for me to be able to come here and serve at the end of my career. But students have always been at the center of everything we do. So I guess when I think about what we have done right during these years, I think we have promoted and provided a lot of opportunities for our students. And some of those, our honors program, which a lot of people do not realize that we have, but we have a large number of honors students. They could choose to go anywhere with their scores, with their knowledge base, but they like coming to Motlow because they have close relationships with faculty that are truly interested in having discussions with them and talking about careers and talking about the value of their discipline. And they like that relationship with our faculty. So I think we've really boosted the number of scholarships in our honors program, the activities that they have, the number of credits they can achieve. And I think we're seeing the results of great faculty, great students when Middle Tennessee has an honors college, MTSU does, and they give out 15 full scholarships for that program. And Motlow has consistently been earning 2/3 to 1/2, 50% of those scholarships from our students. So they really recognize the value and the quality of our honors program.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You have your teachers and students have a very close working relationship and a practical relationship, doing hands-on probably as well as teaching. That's very good. And you don't get that in most 4-year schools, I'm sure. That's been part of the problem, you know, that a lot of the teaching in the 4-year schools is being done by assistants. What do they call them? I've forgotten.
TAs or GAs.
Yeah, and the prof is off doing research or something and rarely sees the kids. So, okay, you've got 4 campuses. Anything in particular at each of them that you want to, let's say your big growth has been up at Smyrna, I suspect.
It has, and over the 9 years we've had a lot of facility changes during that time. On the campus in Moore, we opened up the library, which has really been a real asset to all 4 of our campuses because they support all the campuses. But there's just been good leadership there in the library where they have become a real resource not only for our students but for our community, because community citizens can come to Motlow's library and use the resources and get a library card. And so it's really been amazing how many just community people come and use our library. But that's been a really good resource. Of course, in McMinnville, we did a total renovation and addition there. There's been a lot of growth in McMinnville over this period of time. So they are having about 1,200 students over there. And then the mechatronics program that we started in relationship, you and I have talked many times about that.
Yeah. Also at McMinnville.
It is, and that's where it really started. That's where it had its beginnings with a really strong group of local industry and government state leaders that stood behind it as the way that they really wanted education to go to provide the workforce that our companies were saying they needed. So that has been a wonderful experience to work that close with business and industry and actually be producing a product that they're excited about and in which we could place 500 more of them if we had them today.
Well, that's 500 more if you had the machines, you mean?
No, if I had the students. If I had 500 students that would get in the program, we could place every one of them in a job.
Ah, okay. Well, and you've had that going now, I don't remember exactly, at least 5 or 6 years.
That's correct.
And so you've got some of the graduates coming out of it, and how have they been received? How has that worked out?
Excellent. We've really had a good response, and I think some of the adages you hear is people talk with their money or they'll show their support in that way, and I think we've got evidence of the desire the businesses have for that program, because now we have paid internships where the business wants to hire a student to work with them while they get educated.
While they're going to school. So.
Exactly, in hopes that they'll stay with their company, of course.
Another hands-on, yes.
Yes, and so I think that that's a really good piece of evidence that shows they're backing you, because if they didn't believe in the product, they would not participate in internships. So there's been a lot of growth in that area, and it's been...
that was really unique also in the sense that basically it was the industry, I think, who came to you and said, we need to do something, and they actually paid for the equipment that you use in the mechatronics program.
They did.
And this is the program, folks, if you need reminding, that is trying to graduate youngsters who can think and think systematically, and to move into the high-tech industries that are getting more and more technical all the time, and take a great deal more knowledge and skill to accomplish. So that's been what that's all about. So okay, go ahead. What?
And then we grew that program to Smyrna, but we also grew the campus.
You have it at Smyrna.
We do have it at Smyrna, and we have it at Bridgestone. Bridgestone's been a tremendous partner for Motlow, and they, in their Laverne plant, renovated about $3 million of renovations, making room for us to move in and offer the program.
Yeah. I was not aware of that.
So they have been they utilize it not only for allowing other industries to, their personnel to come in to work and to learn, but they'll bring in some of their own employees that they have at their other states and bring them in to participate and utilize this program. So it's been far-reaching. It's not just in this locale where it's made a difference, but we've had visits from Alabama and South Carolina and Kentucky and Georgia, people wanting to come in to see what our faculty and staff were doing in that area and talk to the business. And Keith Hamilton, like Todd Herzog and Morrison, has been a crusader for that program and truly believes in it as the wave of the future.
I must admit, I've been a little disappointed that we didn't generate enough interest around Tullahoma to have one out at the campus.
Well, that could still happen.
Well, I hope so.
That can still happen, and I think it's just we had really strong companies that drove these other, as you mentioned earlier, and that is what I believe the stakeholders are calling upon for us for career programs, to work closely with businesses and industry and provide a workforce that has the competencies that they need to be successful and in which have livable wages. That's the second thing we look for, is how can we get them to a level that they will draw wages that they can have a quality life, and this provides that.
You mentioned you could use 500 more. You could get, if you had 500 students, you could place them in a good job. What's the hang up? Do you not have room for them, or you don't have the students that want in?
It's more about the students. It's more about attracting the students. Every year we're getting better at it, but a lot of people have a misconception about what manufacturing is. And right now, a lot of our students go into manufacturing, but the skill sets that they're getting are also utilized by banks, hospitals. You think about the robots that's in a hospital now, you think about ATMs, all the robotics that's used in a banking. So typically, we think automatically manufacturing, but those competencies are transferable to many different career fields. But when people hear the word manufacturing, they think of a very outdated, musty, dark, a bad environment. And oh my goodness, I would just challenge parents, go take your children on a tour of Nissan or Bridgestone or Yaruza, any of those large manufacturers. Take them on a tour. You would be totally amazed at the environment.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't aware we weren't even close to getting that message across, that manufacturing is not only not grease hand only anymore. It's much more high tech.
It is
much more automated.
But I think our parents, a lot of our parents think of our grandparents and maybe how the environment was then. And for a large part of our citizenry, I don't think they've been in a plant in many, many years. And so their perception is just what they have known or seen in a movie or had their grandparents, the environment that their grandparents used. So it's very, very different and very challenging and very automated, extremely automated.
And I remember hearing once that the highest paid guy on the floor at, not Bridgestone, but at Nissan, the highest paid guy on the floor was the one who kept the robots running.
Right, and this is what this is about, exactly. So, parents can do a whole lot, we can do a whole lot about encouraging our students to take another look at that, because it is now a high demand and a high tech career field.
Seems like we ought to be having, on that basis, some fairly organized tours starting maybe if not in junior high, at least at middle school, at the 9th grade area, to get them out on a tour once in a while.
Right, and we are working with several schools to do just that and to introduce it actually in middle school. And we're lucky that a lot of our schools are starting robotics with the Legos, etc. in their middle schools, more of a competition. Kids get hands-on and they begin to take an interest.
Yeah, I noticed that at West Middle. There was an article not long ago. They've got the STEM program started there, which would feed right into what you need. So
it's very important, and those are things that we can support in our community. And I'm pleased to see how many of our schools are starting that. So it's an introduction to our students, and really our middle school students, that is the age that a lot of them determine what kind of discipline they want to work in, and they stay fairly true to that discipline.
Is that right? Do you think we got a lot of them that are pretty well making up their mind what they want to do by that time?
8th grade. By 8th grade, it'll happen somewhere in the middle school, but research indicates that by 8th grade they've made some foundational decisions about, I like this path and I don't like this. It's very hard to get them out of what they believe
You have in the Smyrna-Laverne area, Bridgestone, you have your own mechatronics program right inside the plant.
Yes.
Do you have another one at the campus?
We do.
So you've got...
With the new building, so that was a growth that we could have when we opened our second building, we were able to take in more students. We have now a really strong emphasis on science in that building, and then we were able to equip another full mechatronics lab.
When did that campus start, and how much has it grown?
Well, it has been, the presence of Motlow in that area was back in the 90s, but we were in a storefront for a while. We were at the Guard base in Smyrna and utilized one of their buildings for a long time. The June of 2006 was the grand opening for our first building. That was a Motlow building. And then our second building.
That's about the time you arrived.
It was. It was. I was actually there with Art Walker, who was still president that month as we opened the building. So it truly has been a long time coming, but the growth is phenomenal in that area. And we're just seeing a lot of support from the business and industries on what we can do to help.
How many students you got at Smyrna now?
We probably are hovering 1,900. With Tennessee Promise, that could double.
Yeah, that was another question we need to touch on, I think. Tennessee Promise, in which the governor is trying to give free tuition to all of the community school students, if they qualify, and are able to get the Fed assistance to go with it. So what's the problem? What is that happening? It's just now getting rolling. What do you see?
It is. I think most people are surprised we still have a good number of students in the count, meaning that they have met their first mandatory meeting and got their FAFSA, federal assistance, the aid program, their applications submitted. Now, there's still a number of deadlines to come up that's going to be important for them to meet. A second meeting with their mentors, but they're going to have correct information in that FAFSA form, the federal aid. So a lot of parents did an estimation of last year's taxes to meet the February deadline, which was appropriate. But they have to go back in with their taxes, correct taxes for 2015. Numbers. Exactly. Yeah. So that's going to be another deadline that we really want to encourage parents to stay true to get that information in on time so their student will have that opportunity. For Motlow, though, we still have about 3,400 students in our 11 county areas still in as active, eligible candidates for Tennessee Promise.
What do you expect the enrollment to have on enrollment? Is it going to gain 5% or?
You know, I think 2%? We will. I think 5%, and maybe it could be a little larger. I think a lot's going to depend on those last deadlines and parents. We're trying to attract and help a population that's first generational. And because of that, we know that obstacles seem insurmountable for them sometimes. So, use the help that we've got through Tennessee Achieves and the mentors you have to try to face those problems and get through them. But I think we could have a significant growth during this time. And it may challenge us, but before in Smyrna, when we were challenged with not enough space, we ran our campus 7 days a week. We had classes 7 days a week. And that was one way to serve.
That's a hard way to live.
It's a hard way to live. But, it shows the intent, though, that our faculty and staff have to rise up. If we've got students that want to be educated, they want careers, they're really serious about it, we're serious about trying to provide it.
We've sort of gone through all this without mentioning the difficulties in terms of funding. Where does your money come from, and is it sufficient?
Right. And again, I give the campus employees a lot of credit because we financially are sound in that we have lived within our means. We have saved, and we're doing some major renovations right now on buildings that have been on the state maintenance list for years, and that's just not going to happen. So we have saved to where we're being able to get all of our large maintenance needs are going to be taken care of. Roofing, some new roads, our major education building on the Moore County campus, Simon Hall, has needed renovations for some time. It is where all of our sciences are located. And as you know, science equipment and the needs have changed. And so this summer, that building will be closed for a major renovation and be ready to open up in August. So we've really done a lot, but it's been because we have been really lean. We have stayed lean. You do not see any spending going on there unless it's really intentional.
But are you, is the legislature really stepping up to this from a funding standpoint?
Well, as you know, there's no additional funding coming from Tennessee Promise to a campus. It's just like the Hope scholarships. Yeah. They're a great thing, but that money is going to a student.
Yes.
So our funding comes from tuition and then state appropriations.
Right.
And the percentages is between those things is what we're having a sense about. Higher education, the cost has escalated. Well, more importantly, where it's escalated is the change from what the state appropriations percentages has been compared to a student's tuition level. And those have now had a reverse ratio, where state used to, or in the past, had been about 70% and a student was paying 30%. Those have almost changed. So students picked up about 65% of the cost, and state appropriations is picking up about 35% of the cost.
Well,
so the students are feeling, the families, all of us are feeling it, that change has been made.
That's not a winner. We've run out of time. We need to take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We're back, folks, and we've been talking today with Dr. Mary Lou Apple. Unfortunately, we haven't had enough time. She is retiring at the end of June and has been a tremendous asset for us, so we hate to see her go and we wish her well. But meantime, what do you like to say to the folks? You got a sharp message out there you want to?
I do. I want to say thank you to you, but I want to say thank you to Tullahoma for being so kind and inviting to Jim and I when we came to make this our home, and to Motlow for being a fantastic institution in which it's been my honor to serve. But I encourage you, stay active, stay engaged, stay passionate about education from K through 12 to the TCATs, to the 2 years, to the 4 years, because our companies are depending on us to provide a workforce that will allow us to enjoy our citizens having services, a higher quality of life, and it all works together for the good of our communities. And it's been my pleasure to be a part.
Well, thanks so much for being with us, and as I say, best wishes for your retirement. We thank you folks for joining us and inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.